I had a question I wanted to actually start this fourth recording session off with, which is how often do you think about how your collection compares to some kind of perceived normal record collection? Because I was thinking about the other day as I was driving around listening to my Radioactive Goldfish CD, thinking, I bet there aren't too many people listening to Radioactive Goldfish on CD in their car at this
Probably
point in
not,
time. And my collection's, I sort of feel like my collection is probably weirder than normal by a fairly significant margin, but maybe that's just hubris and ego. It could totally be that there's like 100,000 people out there who are like, oh yeah, I got all that stuff and more. Do you ever think about that?
I do, actually, yes. Like, because I'll be like, there's a band I'm going to talk about later on in the show, and one of the topics what we're going to talk about that I'm like, I bet a lot of people don't even know who this band is.
I think as collectors, we like to think of ourselves as unique and special, but yet we are ultimately purchasing albums that are generally manufactured in the thousands, and for the big guns, we're talking hundreds of thousands or more, millions.
Yeah, but that's where Discogs kind of comes in handy, though, because you can just go on Discogs and say, okay, how many people of course, it's only the sample size of people that use Discogs, but you're like, how many people on Discogs have this particular release? Am I one of, say, 50? Am I one of 500? Am I one of 5,000? So, yeah.
Sometimes I don't know, though. What does that mean? So, like, let's say there's a record that 244 people have in their collection. Does that make it rare? Does that mean it's rare?
I guess. If you look at it, like I said, then it depends on the Discogs sample size. I don't know how many users are on Discogs, but I guess, because if only, like, say 200 people on Discogs have that release, sure, that's going to be a pretty rare release. Like, you're probably not going to find it in your Goodwill, or you're not going to find it in your local record store when you're digging.
How would you describe your collection then?
Very eclectic. I have not quite as eclectic as you, though. Like, you, I think, have more of an eclectic mix, but I mean, I have, like, if anybody, I know one of the first episodes we like linked our Discogs. I don't know if maybe we'll do that for this episode too.
It's a good idea.
But if you look at my Discogs, like, I go from like classic blues to country to rock to pop to punk. And then I have some, like I said, the one band I'm going to talk about today is kind of an avant-garde metal band, which is kind of out there. So, it's a very eclectic mix. And I know a lot of people that, like my friends that come over and kind of look through my record collection or whatever, they're just like, you just like a little bit of everything. And I'm like, I just like music is what it boils down to.
I think if you're going to typecast my collection the most, it's going to be a Gen X collection. Because that's what I am. And so I think I'm probably most influenced by my generation in terms of my music collecting and listening habits.
Oh, yeah. And the bulk of mine, you can tell, too, like, because that's the bulk of and like I have and you can really tell the music I really like the most, because that's the genre that I have the most of.
Yeah.
And then, so it's, I'm a product of the cassette generation. Like, as you can kind of see behind me, I have a rack of cassettes back there. So.